Well, g'day YouTubers. It's another sort of cloudy day here. It's the middle of winter and we're going to do some vine pruning today. First of all, just want to say thanks to everybody who have subscribed to my channel. It's really appreciated. I try and show things that are interesting to people, and maybe the vines are one of those things. So what I want to show you today is just what we're doing around pruning, specifically around pruning for frost. We are subject to late spring frosts here, and we're going to do some special pruning today that tries to minimize the impact of those frosts. So I'll show you what's happened in the vineyard and we'll get stuck into some pruning. So here's a vine, and I don't know if you can see that, but it's grown up a long way from the fruiting wire, which is down here. This is what we did last year. So last year it grew out along that arm and it grew all the way up to here. That's a really good example of a vine that's pretty much done on one side, but you can see there's nothing on the left-hand side. So we'll work out what to do with that with the pruning. Just show you some more examples. This one's, I don't know, fairly ratty. What would you say? Bit of a mess. And we'll see what we can do with that one. This one's similar. And as you go down the line, you see different levels. This one, for example, has just got a single side, which I put down last year and tied it off. This year, we're hoping to get some of these buds down here to grow up onto our fruiting wire. And some other examples here. Potentially this one, which is quite spindly, might actually end up cutting that right down here below the wire, or maybe even back down to a bud down here and regrowing it. So that's just an example of what we've got, and it's a bit of a mixture of all of those things. But we come back up to this big vine, this vine I was looking at before. Actually, it's this one here. This one here will be fine. Essentially, you can see we've got our two arms, 1 and 2, and they look really nice. They're nice and thick. And off these, we've got a variety of lateral growth from last year. Some of them quite tall, like this one here has come right up, right up, right up. So what I'm going to do, what you'd normally do is you'd prune to here. Where are we? You'd prune to here, and there are two buds, one at the base and one here, and you'd prune here. That's your normal pruning point. But what happens is your bud burst comes from the apical buds first and gradually works its way down the stem. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to prune up in the middle here, and then what happens is in spring we'll get bud burst from here. It'll gradually work its way down. Then after the frosts, which is after Cup Day, second Tuesday in November, Melbourne Cup, for those who are interested, then we'll come down and we'll do a final prune to here. And that's the idea of pruning for frost. And the literature says that there's no impact on the vintage for that year, the actual final growth. So even though you're doing a double prune and you're bursting buds earlier and later, there's no impact. So this is a pretty simple video because it's a pretty simple prune once you've got your logic right. I'm just going to prune it, I don't know, there, that's done. And then I'll come back, it's like I said, and I'll finish the prune down here. And we're going to work our way right across the vineyard like that. Here's another example of what I'm going to do with the pruning. This vine here has grown up past the fruiting wire here and up through the foliage wires and just kept on growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this vine and I'm going to wrap it around here, around the fruiting wire on this side. And then we're going to expect these buds here, if that will focus, there, on growing out for next year. So what I'll do is I'll do that, and then we'll see what that looks like. So I've wrapped this around the cordon wire. You try to wrap against the direction that the actual vine is turning so that it's as tight as you can get it. But what I've done is normally I cut it here, you see, normally cut it here. But what I've done is I've actually cut it here. And you see there's a little bit of green. See that green in the end there? It's nice and alive. There was a bit of dead wood, but I've cut it there. So that then eventually I can come back and cut it here or here. And that's the beautiful thing about this frost pruning. It'll be a couple of months before we work out whether that's worked or not, but that's exactly what I'm trying to achieve. And that's repetition for the rest of the 254 vines. So I hope you enjoyed this short video. Sorry I haven't had a video for a while because we're building a house. I don't know if you can hear the noise behind me, but they're about to pour concrete for our house. So that's exciting. And we'll come back and do some more videos. I've got a bit of farm equipment arriving soon, so I'll be doing some videos on that. If you like my channel, please subscribe, hit the like button, and I will see you again as soon as I possibly can. See you guys.